All right, welcome to the Pet Life Podcast. As always, I am Patrick, and today I have with me Chris Taylor Brown, singer of the band Trap, but more than anything, father as well. So, how are you?
No, that's my girl's kids.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
hey, taking the role of being a part of their lives, I can imagine that's all.
Just a friend, you know.
Yeah, man. How's where are you at exactly? If you don't mind me asking, what state?
We're in Ohio.
Ohio. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're on the West Coast here, but in Hawaii. So a lot.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a ways away.
yeah, man. So I obviously wanted, as I said before we came on, I wanted to bring you on. Your journey has been quite interesting. Also, being someone who obviously been a fan for a long time, seeing kind of how your name has been thrown around in mainstream, this didn't make sense to me. So it was just being able to understand more about kind of your path, your journey, and obviously through your music, how much truth you're speaking in it. And I feel like with obviously the media today, we get pegged in certain ways based off of what people that are describing us as, but especially with music, I feel like people aren't listening to the lyrics. And when you see someone's truth in the lyrics, you kind of see who they really are as a person. So I just thought maybe we can talk a little more about kind of what's been going on and where you're at now. So I guess maybe share with people kind of your band, a little bit about who you are, et cetera, if that's okay.
Yeah, just had a big song called "Headstrong." I mean, that was the song that got millions of dollars of promotional, like favors and promotions. I mean, that was back in the day when payola was getting busted by people in the government, and then not too long later, they let Facebook basically do the same thing. Like instead of radio plays, it's views. But throttle you, so you have to pay more. It's like if payola was legalized, they could have just like lowered radio spins and said, give me more money, and then act more. And you couldn't do that, so they had to like exchange. Oh well, we'll give you tickets for this band, or tickets for this big band if you play this new band we've got. Stuff like that would be kind of what was done. And these days it's right back to the money. No one's policing anything. So but yeah, and last year was a crazy year, and this year, next year is going to be even crazier. So at this point, my ability to speak freely online has been silenced by at least a few companies. At this point, it's just going to be music. But I figured I could say what I wanted to say. I didn't know it was going to be so one-sided. And I didn't find that out until obviously right around the election time. So when everyone's true colors came out. So at this point, I'm having a good time on TikTok. It's going well for me, and I'm not going to screw that up with anything but music.
Right.
So that's where we're at there. But we have a new song out, Above It All, and that's kind of where I'm at headwise. That's where that would how I had to be to kind of keep going and not have anything bother me.
Yeah, man. Well, it's just for those who maybe don't understand or not sure what's going on. I mean, as you said, you were just expressing your points of view in life purely based off of being an individual, being a living man, having your own ideas, your own thoughts.
Dude, two guys had to quit their bands. I mean, the Bad Wolves singer and the guitar player Mumford Sons, they were forced to be kicked. They were forced to leave their bands because of their
views.
Because of their views. So I'm lucky enough to, have wrote the lyrics and I'll have the ideas of what trap stands for. So I would be a kind of a hypocrite to not stand up for what I believe in and be kind of true to form to what I talk about, lyric wise. So.
Right. Well, what's interesting, right, is we're in a time where it's not necessarily just about having your own idea, having an idea that maybe goes against the grain, but you see how ridiculous some of the things that get such backlash, and so they seem so minuscule. And you just go to see how much it gets pushed in the narratives that kind of are expressed. It's like, oh, this is the worst thing possible, and you realize you're like, this is the thing that creates such an animosity. And that's just for me what I saw in some of the, obviously I read a lot of what was
Oh,
said.
the main thing was me dismissing the music industry, in that they just are complete raging with the machine. It's like everything that I thought music and rock and roll and hard rock and metal and all that stuff stood for was not
Right.
being displayed last year. So that's what I thought was bullshit, and that's what I stood up against, and that's why they're so mad. I mean, that's it. Everything that they stood for, I thought was jump on the bandwagon and not based on data and just BS, So I said it, and it doesn't help their rah rah rah. We're throwing parties and about this stuff that's supposed to be tragedies and all this stuff, and they make it a marketing opportunity.
Absolutely.
So it's like, it's like at this point, Americans are just going, we just need new leadership, and a lot of Americans are convinced we already had it, but
right.
What are you going to do other than let the bad actors play their hand out?
Right.
And hopefully
my question to you with all of it is, have you, with obviously the backlash you got, and has it allowed you to open yourself down to, I guess you can say, more of the rabbit holes of like, why is this kind of the response? What is like the underlying tone of what's happening here? Because I feel like, for at least myself, a lot of the people that watch my page, it's not about just conspiracies, but it's about going, wait, if something doesn't add up, what, I want to understand what's the disconnect here. So I guess for my question to you is with everything you kind of saw, received from the media and just backlash in general, did it allow you to go, wait, hold on, let me try to get to the bottom of what the hell's going on here? Or I guess
their credibility was being challenged by me left and right. And right. So it was in their interest to say, nobody listened to that guy. He sucks. He's not relevant, blah, 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 blah. So much they have to write, article after article after article about me. That's how irrelevant. So it's if I'm so irrelevant, just why not just never have me in your mouth, So whatever. You're just trying to. So basically what they're saying is like, so if you have a hit, then we have to listen to everything you say. Okay. I'll work on that.
Yeah, man. So I guess then how did you come across with Anomaly? Because I mean, obviously I love the song. For those who don't know, would want to kind of give it a quick plug because it's a fantastic song. It's a beautiful message and everything.
Yeah, it's almost 3 years old.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, I reached out to him, like summer of 2018, and we hooked up and just did a song, and I thought doing a video right before, right around the time of those midterms, and hopefully see where we are as a country as far as coming together and stuff. And it was just rabid hatred. It's like, okay, so I don't know if we've turned any kind of corner since then. So it's probably worse. Yeah.
I think at least from my experiences, in my opinion, as you said, the hands that are being shown here in people's true colors, as people are waking up to some of this just complete chaos, what they're seeing now is going, okay, well, where was the glimmers of hopes during this? Was there anything that was out there to tell me kind of what was going on? And I think your guys' song, from my opinion, is doing that. It's like, hey, the ones that you were saying in the media were the shitheads. Well, we were writing these songs about coming together. It's like, but obviously when people are under, in my opinion, programming, it's hard to see that. It's hard to hear the messages. As I said earlier in the beginning, you can see
people who benefit from divide and conquer and splintering Americans into as many subgroups as you can invent.
Oh yeah.
And you give a voice to it, and you give a platform to it, and that's our media. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
well, that's it. I was going to say they've perfected the Hegelian dialect very much so, where it's just constantly creating the problems that you have the solutions to. Well, solutions, but yeah, man. Well, I guess my question to you, just to kind of keep the ball rolling, is what's going on with this new music that you're doing, or what's kind of like the path that you've taken for this, being that you're this big, bad, evil man who...
Yeah, right. Just doing more of what trap does, We have a lot. I had a girl who's really stuck by me last year, and that was inspiring. And I wrote a lot of good songs last year into the beginning of this year, and we're starting to flesh them out and record them, and they're turning out great. So I'm sure we'll have another record coming out early next year or somewhere, early to mid.
Very cool. And now are you guys doing your own type of recording process? Is it?
Yeah, we do everything ourselves now.
That's awesome. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Even though these times are tough, I think it's through the money.
All the money that you would spend on making an album and paying people to make videos and visuals, we're gonna have to pay TikTok and pay all the companies that you have to pay to boost your posts.
Yeah.
So that's really where it goes.
Yeah.
This goes to the social media guys. So.
Through that, have you seen more people in regards to musicians being on the same path as you? Are you been more connecting with?
I don't know. I feel like if you're not on TikTok, it's not, you're doing yourself a disservice. But not everyone's, it's hard. It's really like hard work. You got to keep on doing videos there. And a lot of times, TikTok will just send your stuff out to like a few thousand random people the first few hours, and that's about it. And then the rest of it's just people coming back, and checking out what you did. They didn't get it sent to you, didn't get it sent to them, and they complain all the time. But whatever, you can just come back to the profile. I mean, you can go to somebody's website if you want to, but nobody ever does that because, how it's like a lot of pressure on one website to keep people, entertained. So it has to be social media, where it's like, but all these people's minds, so they're all entertaining. So, I mean, Facebook, I feel like those people go to Facebook to like argue and feel important and blah, 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 blah. And people are on TikTok to be entertained. So as a musician, songwriter, singer, TikTok's definitely the place to be. So I don't feel bad about not being on Facebook, now that we're doing well on TikTok.
Yeah, man. Well, I can assure you the amount of people who are just completely over Facebook in general, with obviously things being revealed, it just goes to show you how it's fading out very quickly in these other platforms. Yeah, man. So maybe kind of backtracking more, like how did you start this? Let's go back to like maybe the band, just because the things that obviously have made you kind of not who you are, but you put so much love and energy into creating Trapped. I guess I'd be interested to hear, as maybe anyone listening, kind of how that all began, how that journey began for you.
I just loved music. Big fan of Pearl Jam when they first came out. I wasn't a huge fan of the '80s hair metal stuff, but Pearl Jam and Temple of Dog. When I first heard that kind of stuff, I was like, "This is great." And Metallica, I got into that after Pearl Jam, I think.
Right.
And then Korn, all that stuff, and then it was like we're 12 and 10 or 11 or 12, and you ask your dad for a guitar and learn how to play it and get together with some buddies and start a band, and that's kind of what we did, and it got pretty good pretty quick, I would say, and opened up with Papa Roach within a year or so, starting the band, or within a year probably of starting the band, and then I got signed a few years after that. So it was
how did that journey get you in front of Papa Roach?
Just sending in demos, man. Just doing the hustle.
Damn,
Same
man.
thing I'm doing on TikTok, man. It's right back to, you don't need labels, man. You just need to work hard and you need to have the right content. And it's like hopefully the gatekeepers fall away, and there's none left. It's just I feel like even Spotify will, like, people will just start listening to music on like TikTok or just I think Spotify will go to the way of MTV, because like that's what it's like. It's more profitable to just have people talk than to pay people for music, for songs. That's it looks like to me that they're doing. They're like rolling out the red carpet for podcasters and like here's your subscribers and all this stuff. They don't give musicians, they don't give bands any info. I mean, I'm sure big major labels get all that info, but they don't give anything to just independent. Like Trapped's got to be the most independent band in the it sells music because we're not even in the industry. It's like they don't even acknowledge it exists because you know I don't I don't care because they're fake industry. So
Yeah,
it's like
man.
I do not care about being recognized by them, and that's I'm sure they hate the lack of respect. But how can I respect anybody who rages with the machine as hard as they do? All of them, almost all of them.
It's, I mean, that's,
It's
it's so,
gross to me.
it's gross to see too, because, but it's always like the hiding in plain sight because it's been there the whole time. It's just obviously with everything that's happened, as you said in the beginning, it's showing the true colors. And I have, I lived in New York for a long time. I did film, did, some music as well, but I have a lot of friends who are in it, and you just see, I mean, better, way better than I do, but you just see how it changes people, and you just see how easy the corruption becomes and manipulation becomes.
And you see corruption at the highest levels, right in your front of your face.
Yeah.
Then it's like everybody feels like they can cheat the system, or everybody feels like they can just kind of screw somebody out of bilk someone out of money they probably wouldn't have done
Yeah.
before. Moral ground, the moral high, the bar is lower, now because last year and what we witnessed last fall. So, it sucks because you can see it. You see it in the music business. You see people who's more ruthless and more like less caring. And, like, hey, if they're doing it, I'm gonna do it. That's kind of the attitude I see. I feel it.
Yeah, man.
Sucks.
But I mean, to your credit, though, at the same time, very similar to what you were saying when you started the band, it's like, what it means to grind. You know what it means to create
Yep.
use your own, for my opinion, God-given
Yeah.
abilities to create.
Either way, because like life's about trials and your tribulations and how tough it is to overcome obstacles. So,
Yeah.
bring it on.
I was gonna, I was gonna say, have you been? I know you've been dealing with a lot of shadow bans and things. When I was messaging you via YouTube, I don't know if you saw it. I was trying to, like,
Yeah, I don't know that you're saying that TikTok was taking your messages down.
no, YouTube. So I tried to respond because with the whole TikTok, I was trying to DM you, but there needed to be a friend request that needed to, like, you needed to, like, there needed to be a friend. You needed to accept my
Uh,
friend request, so I couldn't
oh,
get a message to you.
probably. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I
Got
was trying to send that via YouTube, but every time I did it, like 4 or 5 times, it kept like showing and then it was gone. I was like, what is going on? And I tried it on another page and it went through just fine. So I was like,
But it
how?
went through a point, right? Because I saw it. Right.
At one point it did, yeah. But I was like, what the hell is going on here? And the reason why I would, like, even made me think is because I was looking at one of your other posts about how they were messing with some stuff on your, and it just, for me, it makes me laugh because I
And the
also,
whole, it's like they just and Spotify. It's funny they took us off like half a dozen. I did a TikTok about it, like half a dozen playlists, and that was like I'm pretty sure it was right before Can't Come Together came out, and so it wouldn't be it was hit as many people.
yeah,
Really think so. They knew that. I mean, they would have looked at my social media site and Instagram and Facebook, and I was freaking out against how the Kavanaugh dude was being treated, and just men in general by the whole Me Too movement, and
yeah.
like a few assholes, like you're gonna blame all men about because of a few bad guys, and it's the same thing. It's like, oh, let's not blame all all Muslims for a few terrorists and stuff, but then it's okay to do that if it's a white dude, or if it's
Right.
like whatever. It's just so blatant, and it's the same thing over and over again that I'm look, everybody already made the right choice, and
Yeah,
we're gonna find out what happened very soon.
absolutely. But, I think, and I don't mean to keep rehashing some of these things, but it's more, I think, as much as I know I can imagine the hardships it's been, it's also seeing, though, for me, the value of going, like, well, when you believe in yourself, you believe in what you're doing, you're going to keep going. You're going to keep.
Yeah, they're not gonna do anything. It's not. We have enough fans that it's they tried. We're up. We were at like 1.8 something million listeners a month last summer, which was like where we were for like a couple of years, and now we're at 2.3 million. So we broke through all that, and it
Yeah.
probably was because of all the press. So and Apple is up 50%, and YouTube's up 25-30%. So
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
it's a
What goes to show you with the system, man, I'm very close with other celebrity, well, one celebrity type people. Like, I don't know if you know Owen Benjamin, but he's a comedian. Same spiel. He spoke up. Stuff went down, and what you see is through the shit that happens, you kind of find these gems of life, and you go, "Hey, man, things worked out because, as I said earlier, people want the truth, man." And when people are seeing how corrupted it. Oh, sorry, what?
Look at the NBA, NFL. That they're the ones who got like ratings just got
Oh yeah,
rocked from being woke, like not trapped.
yeah.
So it's like that's the story that needs to be told. Like the whole industry said, oh, they only sold 600 albums. Like that's 600 digital albums, which no one really buys anymore. And they didn't count any of the actual signed albums that we sold. A few thousand of those. They didn't even bother to ask me anything. So I could go out. I will probably go after them for that at some point. But there's other things that are much worse. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna clear my name, and that'll get done very soon. It's already working on it.
That's awesome, man. And I guess I know you've gone through all this stuff. Like, was there like a certain turning point where you kind of realized like the mindset you have now was kind of like, this is the way I need to take it, or was it kind of like a progression of like, all right, I'm seeing that I need to do my thing?
Oh man, Facebook is just the only thing that would get engagement was like a political post or a social commentary or just like saying stuff that no one else is saying,
Right.
or calling out hypocrisy, the ridiculousness of the white liberals that are fighting vicariously,
Yeah.
for thick causes that have nothing to do with them, and it's so annoying. And they can't put themselves in those shoes of people that they can't put themselves their shoes in. So it's just annoying to see that. And that's what I was doing on Facebook, because that worked. It's like if it was just music that worked, I would have done just music. But that would go to like barely anyone. You'd have to spend a bunch of money on promoting that. I wouldn't have to spend any money promoting the name Trapped and just having a social commentary or a political post or something. But now, TikTok is, it's only entertainment or music stuff. So, we'll see how it goes. But, at least there's a few thousand that will see most of those posts. So that's a good thing.
Absolutely. Now I know you're focusing a lot on music, but have you done anything to still try to find ways to, share your points of view on obviously current topics?
Point, I'm just when I'm on TikTok, I just talk more about like kind of mental stuff, that personal battles and relationship stuff versus political,
Right.
Stuff that might be more people mad at me at TikTok than there already are. So no, I haven't done anything that seen. They're afraid that what their friends at Facebook told them will happen or whatever.
Yeah.
People are crazy.
Well, I appreciated the post you did about that recently, about the gentleman who was talking about how not having kids, and it turns the gears, but at the same time, it's a matter of the message that you were sending out. It's like about being the role model, being the good father, being in the position where you were given, like I said, from my opinion, from God, to be like, hey, you're the shepherd now, carry that on. And if you can't do that, or you're going to spread the message not to, then get out of the way.
Yeah, then don't get married. Good. That's but don't tell your kids how to live. Especially when it's such a negative thing, like such an anti, natural progression of life kind of thing that you did yourself.
Yeah. Well, it just goes to show you what the system has done to a lot of the men, right? Like they say, like, oh, it's toxic masculinity.
But to me, it's just being a baby. Like I'm gonna take my somehow. I'm not gonna play anymore. It's like you're a baby.
Yeah.
Get out of the system. Yeah. Fine.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. They're like, get out of the system. I'm in the system. This is what the system has created, right? You get a bunch of dudes who sit and complain on behind a computer. You get a bunch of people who don't actually.
Well, not that they're not the system that women are trying to,
Well, I agree. Right.
Around in.
Yeah. which is why you're seeing a lot of women who are behind this toxic masculinity. In reality, it's that cuck mentality that, in my opinion, is the top.
As a man, you just gotta try to lead away and not be like, well, if you're gonna be this way, I'll be that way. It's like that's a childish way to be. And if women
Absolutely.
want to be that way, that's fine. But hopefully, you can find mature women, and you can be mature too.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of immaturity, and they all find each other. So, fortunately, these days, it's like instead of a few mature people going, "Hey, you may want to check yourself." All the immature people find each other, and
Right.
the mature people look at them as a whole group and just shake their heads.
Well, that's what's for me, what I think is funny is like you speaking out against this, or people who are trying to be more open about being like, go do that if that's what you want to do, but it's not attractive to women, and the system's literally going like, shut the hell up, Chris. Like, don't say that. We want them to keep doing that. And you're like, no, you need to be a man. No, stop. No, you're the problem, and that's the thing, right? Is it's you realize exactly how blatant it is at this point. And for those who can't see it, I mean, they're so bought into the convenience of
It's so
life.
funny that guy said he was gonna make a clapback video or whatever, but he didn't do anything.
What's a clapback? Sorry, I have no idea.
Just like like a rebuttal to what I said. And just like, I'm video, you put words in my mouth, and he didn't do anything.
Yeah,
it's like, what are you gonna say, dude? I'm just like, you're being a baby, and it's like, he's definitely being a bitter baby. It's no, what are you gonna do? You can't cry about it. You can't like deny that. I mean, that's literally what you're being. You're pretty much proud of that. So
yeah, you're expressing it, right? Well, that's
being a whatever.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that on my podcast, at least, just kind of get so you know a little bit maybe about who you're talking to. I've worked in the personal training business for over 10 years. I've done a lot of film, television. I write music as well, doing stuff like that. Just something that I really enjoy creatively. But one of the things that I was noticing is just in my field was the amount of people who could not take ownership of their trials and tribulations, and it was one of those things.
It's called narcissism.
Yeah. Well, and it's also
like, so selfish. You're so easy. Narcissism is the hallmark is very selfish and very easily slighted. And you know who's very selfish and easily slighted? 2-year-olds.
Exactly.
And so that's literally what a narcissist is. It's somebody who neuters don't want to tell the truth, and they because they don't want to be looked at as a bad person, so they just say, well, I didn't do it, and then they're not a bad person.
And they point the finger.
So I'm sure you meet a lot of people like that in that industry.
Right. Well, what it goes to is a lot of the psychological studies that I've done because of this, and realizing like, well, where is this coming from? And you realize how many people are stuck literally in a child's mindset because of trauma. And when you understand the magnitude of these deep rooted traumas that are perpetuated on society, but also obviously within the households, talking about divorces, talking about abusive families, drug abuses, adults who never figure out their own problems, it becomes this vicious cycle.
Children, it's like children don't handle emotions well, and children only really understand dominance. Either I dominate you dominate me. They don't understand teamwork yet.
Right.
And people who are just down to that, at that childlike age, or like they're only know dominance, and so they only know perfection or hiding, their flaws, stuff like that. Instead of just trying to be on the same level playing field as everybody, and you do what you do, but you're no better than anybody else, and not wanting to be up or down. Like, I don't want to be worse or any better than anybody else. I just want to kind of be right in the middle, hanging with everybody, equally like that, So I think a narcissist kind of looks at as people they just completely idolize, and then they also have people they look down upon, So it's like you got to be kind of wonder of people who are too fanatical about people, because they might look, as much as they look up, they look down on other people.
Well, I know you've had fans, obviously, who through this journey may or may not have parted ways with you, but have you experienced some that were a little fanatical and you saw just like, whoa, that was a 180? Like, have any that have stood out to you where you kind of like, man, like I know this, or I'm aware of this person as a fan. They've reached out, they've been very supportive. Like, do you have any personal experiences that kind of you can call to, or because I can imagine in your position.
There's a ton of support for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's a few people who are like, they didn't like deal with the drama that comes with people, the trolls going, I hate you, you suck, blah blah blah. They don't want people bashing their favorite band because it like hurts their souls. You know, it's just like, guys, like, you know, it's not happening to you. You don't have to, you know, but they just can't take it. So they just want to, you know, remove themselves or just take a step back from it, whatever. And it's like, that's fine. But we had so very few of those type of people. So most people are very supportive. You know?
That's awesome, man. I mean, I think
most people wish they could do the same, but they get fired or they did some kind of consequence so that, you know, they appreciate that I would do it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's, I think, a beacon of hope for a lot of people as well, is because a lot of us, and this is true, is that one of the biggest issues with people and the biggest fears is social shame. And that's the thing that people can't deal with. And I can imagine just, well, one, not
yeah,
that.
I don't care. I just don't care. I really don't. Like, people get like, oh, what does that person think about me? Or what does that person think about? So many people are so self-centered that they walk into a room and they automatically think everybody's thinking about them. It's like, no, nobody cares. Like, you really you should want that. You should be like, nobody cares about me. I'm gonna walk in here and know that should make it so I have no anxiety because nobody cares.
Dude.
You know, but you're with somebody who's like, oh my God, they're probably whispering. It's like, no, they're not.
Yeah.
It's too self-centered.
Well, it's funny you say that, because when I was training, because I said in New York, you get a lot of people, kind people, but a lot of very insecure people who, that was the biggest thing, is they go, I feel like everyone's watching me. And I had to get to a point where I was so consistent with it, where I'd had to start my sessions with people I never met and being like, just so you know, nobody gives a shit about you. The only people that care right now is me. And I'm like, and I'm only judging you based off of the fact of making sure you don't get hurt. I go, that's my only concern. I go, don't worry about anyone else. They don't care about you. They're so focused on the mirror in front of them, looking at their abs and biceps. I'm like, they do not care about you. So just, but that's like, it's a total spell. It's a total spell is that we think in this narcissistic society where it's like, you know, I want to be a fly on the wall, but at the same time, my insecurity makes it feel like everyone has a spotlight on me. And so it's like, I have to move, like, can I put this over here? Like you said, being dominated, like, is this where I'm supposed to put it? Tell me what I need to do so I don't stand out, you know? And it's, you see exactly what then happens is now going, oh my gosh, something bad's happened in front of me. Is anyone going to say?
I'm all about like that transformation of somehow going from a meek, you know, or no, not meek, but like, you know, shy and very easily intimidated to somebody who's like, I can take this space up. It's all good. You know, like it's crazy that, you know, just somebody's mind can either tell them that they're allowed to or not. Yeah. You know, it's just so bizarre, you know, you know, because I see people of all races, all kinds of people that have no problem taking up space wherever they want, you know. So that's not, you know, it's like, I love how they want to say, oh, it's only white people who take up space. And it's like, you know, my mom's side's Mexican as it gets. And, you know, it's just like, I grew up around there's, you know, not a lot of Black people, but definitely have been around Black people my whole life. You know, it's like, I didn't grow up most of my life, you know, with nobody around other than white people. That's the, you know, like I said, mom's side Mexican and stuff. So, you know, it was California, you know, I mean, like, it's just the racism thing just wasn't a thing until, I swear to God, like 2014. It's like, that's when I felt like it was like Michael Brown. And then all of a sudden it was like every 24/7, it was like riots. I was like, whoa, where'd this come from? So,
dude, well, that's, I mean, that's obviously, from at least my opinion, I don't know how far you go into this stuff. This is all by design. This is not a mistake. Like,
it's the divide and conquer strategy. I mean, it sucks that people cannot take a step back and see that, you know, but you know what? It's not that they can't see it. They're looking for something to latch onto, to plug into, to be angry and rageful, because that feels good. Rage is a numbing agent. So, you know, a lot of people, so that's what I do with like my girl. It's like, okay, instead of the, you know, anger and fight me back thing, just tell me how I hurt you and tell me that I hurt you and be vulnerable enough to do that. And I guarantee you, my response to that will be much better than if you're going to come at me like, you know, like a angry demon, you know? So, but I understand that you are coming at me angry because it numbs you and you don't have to feel the pain. Absolutely. And so I get that. You know, I mean, dude, it's so, when it pains very high, you just like, you want to say something that, you know, you just want to feel that anger and rage because it literally is an analgesic, you know?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, think about how many times I'm addicted to the mindset of understanding people when they say words, or we say words and we don't realize what we're really saying. And one of the big things that always has caught me is when people go, especially when they're enraged, of going like, that wasn't me. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know who that
That's you.
was. And
That's you.
that's right.
You have to own it. You just have to
Yep.
understand why you have that anger and then incorporate it in a healthy way. I mean,
Yep.
it's like that Carl Jung shadow work stuff. So it's like, you've got to be able to, first of all, own that you aren't perfect. I mean, if you can't do that, if you're a narcissist and you can't, your 2 or 3-year-old mind cannot admit when you're wrong, because that hurts too much to admit that you weren't perfect, you're going to have big problems, big relationship problems. So you just got to right away go, hey, I'm going to screw up and it's going to be painful. And I'm going to have to embrace that. And that'll make you a better person. That's
Totally.
it. That's the way that you got to be like, I can't, it's not my right to show the world how angry I am at the injustice. You know, it's like, look, it's not. It's like, that's what people do have the anger issues. They huff and puff around saying, look at me, everybody, acknowledge that I have been screwed here. Acknowledge my pain. I did it for many years of my life, until I just went, wow, it's like 2 or 3-year-old tantrum shit.
Right. But see, that's such a beautiful moment, in my opinion, when you can see and recognize your own true, let's just say, shadow ego. I call it the shadow ego.
Yep.
And you can really step into the capital S self. That's why my podcast is Pat Life. It's present awareness training. It's all about teaching people how to be present, because when you're present, obviously you're with self, you're with the I of who you are, and it's part of growth.
If you can deal with pain, you can be present. If you're someone who just cannot deal with pain, you're going to have to dissociate a lot. You're going to have to distract yourself a lot.
Right.
You're going to be empty a lot, and you're going to have to fill that a lot. So it's just, you've got to be able to say, hey, I'm conscious enough that I'm going to be able to shine lights on the bad parts.
Right.
And then that can help others with their bad parts.
Absolutely.
Do it for you. You got your own gas mask on first, and then you can help other people.
Yeah, man. But what's even more fascinating is when you were saying about just this system of being constantly in this fear and anxiety and depression, despair, whatever. When you understand that the reason why so many people will take that energy and that fear and go, okay, where do I direct it? Oh, I'm going to direct it at Chris. Yeah. It's because you realize
in a rageful way, it numbs their own personal pain.
Right.
Like Trump numbed millions of people's personal pain, had nothing to do with him. Just he was a representation of like the patriarchy or some kind of instrumental force that they felt powerless against in the past, and so they could rage against that, and that was an analgesic, but a numbing agent.
But even further with that, right, is if you call out this what truly is going on, right, then that has to make most people look at their life, right? Not the government, but the people in government, the bodies of protection that they've been so accustomed to, right? Of being on the teat and being like, tell me what to do, daddy. Now people are going, hey, this might not be what you thought it is. And that for people is scary. So it's like, I don't want to have to deal with that reality. So where can I put this energy and this fear? Okay, I'm going to put it on this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because
big distraction, I mean, that's what I say. Like people, it's childlike stuff. People are stuck in fantasy land, and they'd rather stay there and fight and be rageful and fight a cause that's not even real.
Right.
And live in fantasy. Man. I mean, that's a lot of people.
Do you have a lot of people, at least in your circles, that you have now where you're on the same page, or have you been able to figure out the people maybe who are on the same page? Like, how do you approach that in your life now compared to maybe?
Yeah. When I live in Ohio, I have plenty of friends around here that are just very much on the same page.
Yeah.
Very much like-minded guys. And
looking
the ladies out here too.
Yeah, looking at the fact that when you stand up in a place, you need this bad boy on, but when you sit down, it's completely fine. Are you guys on that same page as well?
What do you mean?
I'm
like
talking about the masks and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's not going on around here, so that's good.
Awesome, cool, man. Yeah, I mean that's obviously a very touchy subject for people, especially.
It's like they did the studies, like 10% efficiency at it'll filter out 10% out of 100 aerosol particles. So
right,
it's gonna help much.
Yeah,
I mean, it helps, I guess.
Yeah, Yeah. Well,
100%.
when you deep dive into that stuff, you start to see a lot of the shit that goes on. Like I said, I don't know how far into it.
It's just power. It's just enforcement power. It just gives the state more power. And then the vaccine, look at, we saved you. You need us. People are just sheep, and it sucks, man. It's like everybody's been brainwashed since they were kids, and the majority of people that we went to high school with are probably lost causes.
Yeah, man. I was gonna say, have you had anyone reach out being like, "Wow, Chris, like, I appreciate you speaking out. I was wrong," or anyone owning up and
Definitely.
going, "Hey,
My friend, one of my buddies from high school. He definitely, he was very much against the stuff I was saying on Facebook and against Trump and not, and then he just did a 180. And after a few months of the COVID lockdowns and stuff, he's like, he saw through it and became pro Trump more than me. And, he's arguing on Facebook and stuff. And just like, I was like, I can't be more proud of you. That's so funny.
Yeah, you're sitting there like, oh my God.
You see, and that's when I saw that, I was like, oh, Trump's going to win big, and yeah, we'll see what happens. It'll all come out.
Yeah, man, it's definitely an up and coming battle. It's like you said, it's like for me at least, it's like a WWE match, man. You start to see, it's like, oh, Trump from the top rope. Oh, here's Biden. Oh, he doesn't know where he is. Oh, he's lost.
Yeah, they're gonna 25th Amendment Biden soon. You can just feel it.
Well, dude, I mean, he's
President Kamala.
I was gonna say the amount of hair that guy's been sniffing. It's just that for me that's the hardest.
He just looks like he's probably not wanting to do this anymore anyway. See, so it's like subconsciously probably throwing the game.
I don't even know if that guy knows where he is, to be honest. I don't even think he knows that he's in this.
I think he wants to go and get hired. I don't know, whatever he does.
Yeah, man. Well, have you have you done anything kind of like establishing? I know you do like TikTok and stuff, but have you guys established any sort of like gigs that you are doing?
We're just kind of looking forward to early next year and just doing the 20th anniversary tour, kind of just doing what bands do when they've got a 20th anniversary coming. So kind of looking towards early next year and just getting ready for that for the rest of the year.
Cool, man. Nice. Now, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but if just a couple more kind of shoot the shit questions, man. How did you come up with the name Trapped?
Just 16, and I was on probation for DUI between right junior year of high school, and I just felt that way. I just felt like I couldn't do what I wanted, and live the same way adults could. I just felt like I should be able to. That just felt like I didn't have the freedom I thought I should have. But it morphed into more of a, the stuff you do yourself the stuff you hold yourself back. The way you hold yourself back.
Absolutely. Now, I guess for talking about the personals, when was it for you in your journey where you felt like, all right, I don't want to say made it in the sense of like just fame, but like you feel like my accomplishments, my hard work, my ownership, my tenacity, this feels like I can feel rewarded for this.
Right. This year is the most because I was able to stand up for what I believe in and come out stronger for it. So can't beat that.
Isn't that interesting? Is where most people might see like, oh, was it when this song hit number one or or these songs were in this and that, and you realize like just
it's when you can say what you want to say and not lose everything.
Did you experience a lot of that in the beginning when you guys were starting off? Like, hey, Chris,
it was just there wasn't anything. Everybody was united against terrorism back then.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're about to go back there, unbelievably.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just like it just wasn't. I was definitely like a Bush guy, and Republicans have always been like that. Now I look back on it, it was just horrible decisions, but they told us bunk information like they always do. So.
Of course, absolutely.
We're doing right now.
Yeah, man. And
I was like 18 back then, so I was naive. Or 19, 20, 21, 22.
Yeah, man. And with your bandmates, man, you guys, I mean, I know this has been a lot on you guys, but is it really brought you guys closer together, really just uniting, being like we're in this together?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a bunch of shows that have been great, and just getting together and trying to make art when we can.
Yeah, man.
Good times.
How's it feel being back with just like when you were seeing people live, like that energy? I know you're saying in your live yesterday, just you wish you can have some sort of like shouting.
Yeah, I mean, the more it's like the more we can do it, the better. It sucks that there's all this fear going on. It's just like this build, just more and more uh, regulations and mask back and all that stuff. So I know it's not really happening around here as far as like business and stuff, but I know schools are having to do it, so it sucks. Hopefully, it doesn't get worse.
Yeah, man. Well, that's part of why I just doing this. I know we don't go into it, but my friends and the people that I'm kind of grown close with, we're just saying what we need to say and bringing people on like yourself to speak up because it's important for people to hear, that there are people out there who are willing to use their voice and say something. And because there are, I mean, I can't see how many people, and I'm not even anywhere near the reach that you have, but just the amount of people have been like, hey man, I just appreciate you saying something or
Yeah.
willing to put yourself out there. And you kind of realize the fear of social shame isn't much. As we've talked with people who are in a childlike mindset, I've had people tell me I'm a murderer. I've had people call me bigot, racist. I've got the whole shebang. And what's interesting is
Crazy people.
and the people who really know me, and not that we have much time here, but my whole life has been about helping up people reach their potential. And it's been about working on, hey, how do you be a better person? And obviously our ideas don't line up, but at the end of the day, you realize it's like, hey, don't follow me. You don't have to listen, but people still want to listen. So you realize it's not really anything real.
Not one voice and that's it.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's like America's always been about that, and it sucks that just because the internet companies have this control over this information pipeline, and the politicians do nothing about it. I mean, this is all by design. 1996, they came up with these laws that protect these companies, all by design.
Oh yeah, dude.
They were consolidate, monopoly over what speech is allowed.
Yeah, man. I mean, you even look at they did this. They were doing this back in the '80s with the protecting the vaccine companies too. I mean, there's no liability. There's none of that. And for me, it's obviously, and sounds like yourself, a clear sign. Just exactly, it's like, hey, these people don't necessarily have your best interest at heart, but do you have your best interest at heart? Do you believe in yourself? Do you care enough?
I'm good. I'll be fine.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying in general, but
others. But they don't want. Yeah, big tech doesn't want that.
Yeah, man. Well, dude. Well, hey, man. I appreciate your time. I don't want to keep it any longer. But can you maybe just for those, just kind of reiterate what it is that where you are with the music, what to look out for, where we can find
you? Just TikTok. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff on there, and TikTok's the best place to be. I mean, as far as where you can see all of our content in one spot. So just add Trapped Official on TikTok, and we're going to be, there's going to be lots of good stuff coming up, over the next few months, and you'll know where to listen to music from there.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I'll definitely be pushing your stuff out there as much as I can and doing my best to, if you guys have any updates, sharing that as well. So, but dude, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for listening, chatting in with me. And for those, again, who want to find Chris, you can find him on TikTok at Trapped Official. And thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll see you all soon. Have a good one.
All right, man. Take care, bud.